Welcome, Brandon Hayes. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Kenny Lloyd. Mr. Lloyd, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling real good.
Hey man,
Pleasure
that's
to be
good.
here.
Hey man, a pleasure to have you. Before we get started, let me just get this out of the way. Follow Kenny Lloyd on Instagram at I am Kenny Lloyd for all music updates and everything. Listen to his project Layers and Shrooms Up on all streaming platforms. And check out Sky Zoo's new album, Mixed by yours truly, Kenny Lloyd.
Yeah,
Now,
man.
Kenny, I want to ask you this because honestly, you're a huge talent in my eyes. You're multi-talented. You're a writer, rapper, engineer, producer. You work with famous people, Gucci Man, Dre, Swizz Beatz. Do you ever like feel like a pressure that every time I put out music, it has to be great because you have all this accolades and awards, or at this point, it just comes natural to you? This is, it's whatever. I've
You
been
know
doing it
what?
for a while.
No lie. When I first started, that was definitely when I first started. I've been doing music myself for a long time, but when I first started really thinking of putting it out professionally myself, I had a friend that passed away, and he was the one reason why I started engineering, because he was the most talented artist that I had ever seen. And when you come from the hood, I'm from Southside Chicago. It's like hard to get everybody in point. So I stopped doing music and just focused on engineering. Went to school and everything. So when he passed away, I felt like the story was untold. The things we've been through, the things he's seen, the things that I done. So I was scared at first, no lie, to be honest with you. And then like two or three of my good friends just was like, bro, you've been talented. Like, just don't care. And then I just let it go. And then, when you play a song for like some of your big artist friends, that's sometimes it feels a little scary. But I ain't gonna lie, man. After over the years of working with these cats and being in the studio vibe now, I see what I got and what they don't. You know what I'm saying? I see why I can do what I'm doing and why they can do what they do. So I feel good now versus the first few years. I used to be like, what they gonna say, what they gonna do. But literally, the response has been crazier than I thought. Like everybody's like, wow, they were shocked more than anything. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of engineers don't do the whole angles that I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah. So tell me if I got this right. You just said you're from Chirac, and then
yeah,
you went to school Southside. You went to school in Florida. You went to Full Sail. You went to Florida a little bit, and then you
yeah,
went to New York, and now you're
yeah.
in Jersey. You spent some time. Tell me about the sacrifices you had to make,
Wow.
traveling because being from the Midwest and going down
Man,
south
you
and
are
East
the
Coast.
first person to ask me that one thing right there, bro. I have to be honest. G, what you said it, but what you said was sacrifices. Like I would be honest with you, bro. I sacrificed a lot, man. You know, being from the Midwest, everybody back home when I moved here, it was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then every time I do come home, everybody's like, you change, you different, you not, you're not this. And then you lose some friends, you gain new ones, But everyone that was real core and family and friends, they realized it and knew that this was not just a dream of mine, but that I had the talent to do it. So they supported me and they were pushing me behind me. But the time, the energy, like, I'm lucky now. I have a good girlfriend. Things are great and working out now. But I've sacrificed all of those. Any relationship sacrificed for real
Mm.
was
Yeah, yeah.
was a full force sacrifice. I've lived overseas. I had a girlfriend overseas, and it was hard working. We're doing that for a while, trying to do that because what I'm saying, you just do things. I lived overseas for a few
Where
years.
where did you live overseas?
I
Where
lived in
exactly?
Switzerland for a few years.
Really?
Yeah, I had an artist. I still work with him now. One of my good friends, K1. Matter of fact, we just got a gold plaque for the album we worked on together. One of his first solos with his own, crew, independent on his own. So he just went gold on that in Germany. But he's like the biggest rapper in Germany, like literally one of the biggest rappers in Germany. He's on TVs at TV shows like The Bachelor, all of that
Mm.
stuff. His name is K1. And I went over there. He called me. We met here in New York by chance because he did a production with Swizz. He was writing for an artist. And we just kept in touch. His name is Kenny. His name is Kenneth as well as mine. So
Okay.
that was the first spark. And then boom, I went over there. He called me like, I need you. I went over there and literally I loved it. And
Mm.
then like I would come back, I handle some business here and then go back. And because I was his main man, helping him write songs, produce, and do a lot of everything, he was just like, bro, I need you. And at the time I wasn't working with too many artists here. I kind of stopped working with the some of my big artists I worked in, was working on my own music. So he was giving me the chance to put my music out, like to put songs out and to do it. So it was a better opportunity than being here in the city and being around here where I was just stuck engineering, you know what I'm saying? And not advancing, you know? So it's crazy.
When you're in Switzerland, you know, it's different when you're in the country, you know, you're in Chicago, Florida, you know, it's still, you know, it's different, but you know, at least you can, you know, talk to people who's English, and maybe some slang is the same, you know, the culture is probably the same. How much of a culture shock is it that you go to Switzerland? Like, were you nervous at first?
You know why I wasn't, because of my good friend, and he helped me, you know, through the first initial things. But once I got there, I realized a lot of them speak English, or they speak English sometimes better than us. They're just scared. Funny enough, they're scared because they learn it as a second or a third language. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. First of all, obviously I'm American, but like we really, like a second language is like they like barely really force us to do it. Like over there, it's like a mandatory thing for them to learn it. They just don't have the chance to use it as much. So a lot of them could speak better than we can. So once they warmed up and I let them know, look, hey, you don't got to impress me with your English. I just want to communicate with you. You know what I'm saying? Once that kind of little thing left, or those that understood that, you realize it was kind of like normal. You know, you had a few people who didn't speak English. I'd have to say, like, out of 100%, maybe a 40% didn't speak at all. You know what I'm saying? So you'd have that hard time with that. But they understood a lot of words and stuff, but they just, you know, they couldn't communicate as much well back to me. You know what I'm saying? To me. So a lot of them understood a lot of what I was saying. They just had hard because they don't use their English as much. So they feel they really are intimidated. It's really the best way I could say. But once I got past that with a few people that I kind of was around a lot, boom, they would open up. I got like at least 10, 15 people that speak English like really great now. There are homies there that was like, bro, without you, like I would have never even used it that much like that. You know what I'm saying? So it became actually fun. And then I learned great because they speak German in Swiss, actually. They speak German. So I actually started to pick up, from working with K, I already would help him with writing. So he would tell me translation stuff because I give him melodies, or I'd write pieces, you know, hooks, and he'd be wanting to translate them into German. So I kind of would get it a little bit sometime anyway. But once I was there for a while, I started picking it up. And then I take German still now just to keep it fresh, because the regular conversation things are much easier than you think, actually. It's that deep conversation like me and you are having right now that you know, it's like, you know.
It's funny that you say that you know, people in Switzerland, they're intimidated by us. I have this stereotype about other countries that they automatically hate Americans because of everything that's going on. They're like, listen, you don't know how to run a country. Your country's basically upside down. And you know, it's funny, you also mentioned that, you know, learning a second language, no pun intended, is foreign here. Like, if you know a second language, I think that's a superpower. I really think that's
my God, exactly. I say that to the core. I was luckily to meet someone out there that knew multiple languages, that was like just a genius person. We had a lot of things in common, and literally that was the first thing I told her. I'm like, yo, I need you with me everywhere, because like I can actually get work done. I could get like, and she can translate it right to me. You know what I'm saying? She had perfect English. So it was like the craziest thing. I'm like, yo, you're like literally a savior. Like she got me out of situations, got me through situations, just because now I can really understand the client that I'm working with, really understand what they're saying. And people take that for granted. We see this world battle we have, and a lot of that is sometimes just even with these issues that we have, is just not understanding each other. You know what I'm saying? For real.
Tell me more about growing up in Chicago, because when about 6 years ago, that whole drill scene was really popular, and it had a reputation of being basically like the toughest place in the country, toughest place in America. Like, I remember people would say, listen, I won't even be on the plane that's flying through Chicago. That's how bad it is. They have rocket launchers. It's horrible over there. So tell me more about growing up in Chicago.
You know, man, I'll say this, man, is that everything that you hear about Chicago is definitely real.
Okay.
But you know, the biggest real issue in general that Chicago has is the main issue that we have going on today. The level of racism is high, but I'll say it this: the city was built with racism in mind. The highway that you travel, the main highway that you travel in Chicago, separates the suburban areas from the rural areas. You know what I'm saying? All the big, remember back in the years they used to have Pagrini, the big tower housing. They tore all of those down now, which is great, and you know, it's a great thing. But that was the thing; it was a separation of the people. So it created a lot of the craziness and stuff that we had there. But as a youngster, I grew up on the South Side. You know what I'm saying? 83rd and Halsted, and you know, it's one of the definite strong and violent areas. But it was also where you had a lot of good families on the South Side. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of this drama. And all these kids that you see now, they're second, third generation of good families, man. You know what I'm saying? And it just sucks because the drugs and the violence. And Chicago was the birth of the black gang. You know what I'm saying? The black gang was initially a neighborhood protection. That was initially what all of these gangs, black gangs, was started from, was because the police and the white people would come in and would do brutal things to just our people. So they were initially started to protect us during these times when we were going through all of these things with us as a people across the nation. This was the original start of it, just like the Black Panthers and, you know, other such organizations. Over time, you know, they basically made it very tight for those guys to do what they were doing, helping the people, and they arrested them, got rid of them, and then it left a lot of kids that didn't know what, and it turned into the violent side, leaving the drugs and all those things out there. That's where it turned, and that's where things really went sour. Me, when I grew up in that era, you know what I'm saying? And all my cousins are Blackstones folks, you know, and stuff like that, few BDs and stuff like that, but most of all my family is Blackstones. I grew up in the Blackstone territory area. So all of the school I went to Garrett A. Morgan. You know what I'm saying? It's a grade school that's closed down now, but that's where the Blackstones started. The Blackstone Rangers was a protection, was a neighborhood protection group. You know what I'm saying? They protected and they helped walk us to school, helped take care of the neighborhood. This is what they was built for. It was a big complex that they built over there at the time that was called Stone Terrace apartment buildings. So a lot of them lived in that building. So that's how that gang actually started. A lot of my family members are members and are like deep, long-term members, chief members, and all that. And, you know, when I came up, they just basically pushed me away. My main cousin has been through so much with gangs and, you know, in that life. But, you know, he was one of the ones that helped me stay away. You know what I'm saying? And without him, I for surely would be another number in that march, would not be able to say and be talking with you. You know what I'm saying? Because in Chicago, I got friends that's, you know, that died just for Jordans, regular shit that ain't nothing. Like, I don't even wear Jordans. I just recently, the last 2 years, just bought a pair of Jordans. But I haven't worn Jordans since I had the Jordan 1s when they first came out as a kid. The next year, one of my friends that I went to school got killed. You know what I'm saying? For those same pair of shoes. I never wore them again.
Is that why, I'm sorry to cut you off, but is that why you don't wear Jordans, because you're traumatized of everything that happened? Like, listen, I don't want to wear some of this stuff because my friends got killed.
I'll be honest, as a kid, I did not wear it. I did not wear it because of that, because the reality was it had nothing to do about me being a good kid. It had nothing to do about me being in the gang. Yeah. They wanted what I had. Yeah. And there was nothing that was going to change that. So as a kid, I grew up, I didn't really press about all of the clothes and all that stuff, because where I grew up from, the moment you flash, the moment you look like that, you better have the protection to keep all of that. You better have the all the extra of that. So it was a different level of that for me when I grew up. Personally, I stayed away from it as a kid and didn't really press for it. Once I became more in a teenager, I just stuck to my guns about it. I just didn't buy them because I didn't understand it. And then over time, I also didn't buy it because I was from Chicago. Jordan really never did anything for Chicago. You know what I'm saying? As a like, he could have made the shoe $100 for everyone in Illinois. You feel me? Everywhere else is $250. But here, this is where I'm gonna give back here, or I'm gonna do that. He didn't do none of that. I'm not gonna sit there and say he didn't have Jordan foundations and all that, because I'm not gonna disrespect him like that and say he hasn't donated anything. But I'm telling you, as a person that lived, bred, and been in Chicago, he ain't did nothing that he could have done. as
I
being
think,
damn near as a billionaire. You feels
yeah,
me?
the
You know
best
what I'm
thing
saying?
he did for
There should be a
Chicago.
high school. There should be a high school in Chicago named Michael A. Jordan, Michael,
Yeah.
whatever the hell his middle name, Jordan, based off of the fact that he say, "Brah." You feels me? No, there's not that. And it's not because they won't name one. It's because who gives a fuck? Just to name you after there. What you do here? You feels me? What you do? So, you know what I mean? To me, that was my main, as an adult, is the reason why I didn't purchase them as an adult. You know what I'm saying? And then literally just recently, just because it was only a couple pair there over the years, I swear to God, man, I just was pissed that I kept this pat to myself because I'm like, I really like that shoe. You know what I'm saying? So I got it. You know, I got like literally the two that I liked, and that was it. But everything else, I don't really rock. I did turn into a sneakerhead over time, but it was mainly because Swizz signed with Reebok. I was always a Reebok head. I loved pumps when I grew up. But over time, he did a deal with Reebok. And because I was his personal engineer, basically I had a deal with Reebok because I couldn't be seen on camera or anything with any other shoes being around him. So I became a part of the team as well too, and I took a liking. But I was traumatized. I will say I was traumatized as a kid. It was more traumatization than it was like, yo, forget the brand or blah, blah, blah. It was like, I ain't trying to die. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to die. You know what I'm saying? For real.
The best thing Jordan did was bring a championship to Chicago. I'm not from Chicago, so I can't really.
No, you're dead right. He put the city on the map.
Like.
He really made us that, like, because right now we're still recognized as well as population, the third biggest city in the United States. You know what I'm saying? And we were big back then, but having those titles, bringing that level to it definitely did help us. Him also being around, like he was around afterwards. He didn't just dip off and make all this stuff. He definitely was around and still came back and all that. So he kept attention there, even though we didn't have a great team over time until he, bought his team down there and he put his focus with his team down there in Charlotte or wherever, Washington, Washington at first and then Charlotte or whatever. But he still shows mad love. So I give him that as far as when it comes to the sports team, he always shows up when they need him and shows out for that. But for the community, I've always felt like he could do more and do better and, could help us out a lot more and could have helped some of this violence we had. Even him coming out, putting forth more of an effort to the community saying, yo, like I said, doing discounts, making them not so expensive to find just in Chicago, things that would have made people realize, you know what, it's not about that. If Jordan ain't making it about that, it ain't about that. Let's stop doing it. Because these street gangs do listen. They don't listen as much now because the leadership is not there anymore. You know what I'm saying? When I was coming up, the leadership was strong, bro. The murders that was happening when I was coming up, I just got to be honest with you. They was niggas that was living that life. You feels me? So that was their choice. You feels me? To be in that. They shouldn't have died. Yeah, you shouldn't have to die just because you did the wrong deal. But to be honest, that's what comes with that life. So if you choose to do that, definitely innocent bystander situations are not wanted. But, regardless to whatever it is, it's always going to be a mistake of that. When you're in war, you have innocent bystanders. So this regardless of violence, there's going to be some innocence that's gone. You know what I'm saying? Regardless to how you look at it. But they had a bit level of control of it. You know what I'm saying? Now it's more nonsense violence than it is real gang violence, if you get what I'm saying. Real gang violence. Like, you took my territory, you robbed our connect, or that's real problems or whatever to them. You know what I'm saying? They just like, oh, you walked on my shoe, you stepped on my shoe. Like, they really are that petty. Like, that petty in the city. Like, you ski skirted by me too fast, like, or you drove by stunting on my block. Like, what? Like, what are we dying for? Like, what? Why?
Let me move away from Jordan before he ashes a cigar on me.
Exactly.
Use me as an ashtray.
I love MJ though.
So at what point?
Doc had me going crazy.
At what point do you move out of Chicago? When do you move out?
I basically when I was about 13 or 14, my mom seen that if I didn't move at that time, I probably would have made a couple bad mistakes. And my cousin was very, very keen on showing that level of it because I was following his nurture. So she moved me to Wisconsin with my dad. My dad lived in Wisconsin at the time, and he had remarried out there, and they had a bigger situation. I could go out there, and it was at the time, what they told my mom was that it would be more of a family situation. And we didn't have that. My mom worked all the time. Me and my little brother were basically with all of my cousins, the typical Black, situation, you know what I'm saying, where you all grew up with everybody together and all that. And there wasn't nothing wrong with that. Believe me, I love my family to the T. So I had no problem with that, but I was definitely not on the right path. So then I moved to Wisconsin, and basically, no lie, bro, I was the only Black kid in the school. I moved to the blank suburbs, bro. Like, I'm talking about Brookfield, Wisconsin, like no Black people nowhere near. And then I was a culture shock because the only white people I seen coming from the South Side of Chicago was my mom worked at Northwestern Hospital. So everyone everyone of her managed, people that worked there were white. So that's the only time I ever seen a white person in my life up to that time. So now I'm in school with them. They on the bus, calling my first day on the bus. I'm whooping ass on the bus, banging, kicking ass on the bus, getting off the bus, get my ass whooped. I'm in the principal's office. It's a whole scenario. I mean, really just scared white kids that just don't know how to react. And then a lot of deep racism of people who, teaching their kids the wrong things. You know what I mean? After being there for a good amount of time, I really didn't deal with it as much. The real knuckleheads, people. But, my father told me the one good thing. He was like, yo, you want to burn them? Get your face everywhere. You want to make them mad? Be everywhere. Do everything. Be the smartest kid. Be the best athlete. Be everywhere where they can't say anything about you or say anything to you. And he was right. You know what I'm saying? So I tried out for every sport. I tried my hand at getting my education to the comparable level, because when I came from Chicago, I was going into 7th grade. I was at like the 4th grade reading level or some retards, way off, like, at everything. So my 7th and 8th grade year was really me catching back up mentally, technically, you know what I'm saying, to grades and educational wise and all of that. And, it was hard because I didn't realize it. I didn't even understand. It was a lot of intimidation and scared of, just did not realizing that, I was really undereducated. I'm really don't know what I think I'm supposed to know, or I'm supposed to be where I think I'm supposed to be, having to take, the lower classes. I forget what the hell they used to call that back then, but the be in the little classes with some of them kids that are slower and all of that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? I used to have to deal with that my 7th grade year to basically get myself caught back up. And, it was weird at first not because of that, just because I didn't understand it at all, but I was thinking that I was normal. You know what I'm saying? But once I got my stuff ready, I was good. Got it, sports, got my name everywhere. I had my picture. If you go to this school, you'll see the one Black kid in all of these old joints. You know what I'm saying? I did badminton. I did everything, any sport you could think of. I was doing it, just taking what my father said and saying, yo, hey, you want to make them mad? This is a way to turn it around. And then, things was cool out there in Wisconsin for a good while. I ended up moving back with my mom's to Hammond, Indiana, which is right close to Chicago. It's like
it's real close.
Like right there, right next to Gary, which is the other murder capital.
That's a horrible place. Gary's
the other murder capital.
Well, let me ask you this: when the whole drill scene in Chicago happened, it was really popping. Chief Keef, Fredo, Dirk, Rondo, LA Capone, really popping. Were you a little jealous? Like, damn, I wish I stuck in that area so I can, build my name up a little bit. Or were you?
Nah, I wasn't, because I actually loved it. I thought they were making some good stuff. I'm not, I'm gonna be honest. I grew up in the era more lyrical. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to the hip hop side. So I was a little like on that side because it was easy going music and kind of not real deep. But I like, it was real Chicago music. That was our sound. That was really what we was about. So, I hated it. Really, the most thing that I hated about it was that damn near every song, someone was going to die next. That was it. Yeah. That was the only thing that I hated. The actual, the guys getting themselves together, being smart, getting their money together. Most of them all moved. All the guys you discussed, they all pretty much ended up, look at Chief Keef. He's able to get himself together somewhatly. You know what I mean? I know he still turns up crazy, but the nigga's alive. He's alive. Like, let's be real. He is alive. Like, that is a feat. For Chief Keef to be alive, that's a big feat.
it's so bad. That's a blessing just to breathe. You know,
Yeah,
that's just
I'm
that
telling you.
yeah.
Kiki, Little Dirk, who else? It's a couple other good cats that came from that era.
Well, Fredo
What's his
came
name?
out
Just
too,
got
but he
shot a little
passed
recently.
away.
Reese got shot a little recently, but Reese,
Yeah.
all the guys that stayed home still have the drama. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad that they got to move to get free, to be kind of
Yeah.
free of it. It's sad that they have to move to get free of it. But I'm gonna be honest, that's what it is. Like you look at another artist, like another artist that's, sorry about that,
No,
somebody
you're
hit me
good. You're
the
good.
line there. Another artist that's from the area, Freddie Gibbs, he had to move to kind of just make the journey. You look at Common Sense from more of my area, he had to move to get the thing. Even Twister eventually had to go and come to the East Coast to
Yeah.
really take it to the next level. It's something about Chicago, they don't want you to win. You know what I'm saying? At times. And the drill, funny enough, that was the most united. Other than, let me take that back. The most united Chicago was the Kanye era. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Kanye era, Chicago was very united. That's why Twister came off. That's why, a lot of good artists, a lot of the old tier artists were able to respawn again. The Kanye artist was the most united we was. But we were very united during the drill scene. When the drill scene was lit, Chicago was united. We just hated that it was drama and deaths with it, but we were united. We loved that these young kids was finding something other than the streets to find ways to make money, robbing people and selling drugs. They were finding other ways to become millionaires and become better people,
It's funny you bring up Freddie Gibbs. That's my favorite rapper, and he definitely describes in his music. When I listen to Freddie Gibbs, it feels like I'm watching a movie because the way he goes into detail about what he had to go through is is astonishing. It's really amazing. But let me ask you this: what made you want to go to Florida to go to school? What made you like, you know what, I want to take this risk? And you wanted to be an engineer at first, right?
Yeah, I'll give you a quick short one, but I went to school in Vincennes, Indiana for computer programming and networking. So I was down there and, typical going into college, I blew through my freshman and sophomore year, bullshitting and, drinking and partying. I joined a fraternity. They finally whipped me into shape and got me, on my path, and I pretty much finished out. I had a small little hiccup where I got a young lady pregnant. We took it mad serious. So I was shutting down all of my life and was going to do what you're supposed to do. Take care of your kid if you have a kid. Luck to God that it's not a lucky thing that it happened, but she had a miscarriage like really deep in it, like 6 months. It was a very bad thing, traumatically for her and all of that. But life brings you a good thing, because I'll tell you this, I've experienced regular racism being from Chicago, but I've never known racism as strong besides being in this particular relationship, because it was a crazy thing. So I learned a lot getting in that situation and then coming out of it. I trusted hard and didn't. So once I did everything for this person, let her go to school, finish off her things, because it stopped both of our lives. Once she got done, I went and did my thing. I found about Full Sail and I went to Full Sail. When I got done, I was gonna stay in Chicago. I had two big interviews, one at the Chicago Recording Company and one at the Chocolate Factory, R. Kelly studio. And I'm a big R. Kelly fan. I know everybody hates R. Kelly right now. You know what I'm saying? And I understand why. You know what I'm saying? And coming from Chicago, we all have our ins and outs about him. But musicianly, he definitely was a reason why I became who I became. I'll be honest with you. Without him, I wouldn't have became the kind of musician I became, because I learned a lot of the tricks and trades from watching what he did to become the guy he came. That's it. That's all I say about R. Kelly. That's it.
Music-wise.
Yeah, that's it. But she did me totally bogus and made me just say, you know what? I don't think I really even want to be around this area right now. And
was
my
that
sister
girl white?
Yes, she was.
Did you get a lot of criticism for being with a white girl at that time? Because I feel like now, if you're with a white girl, you'll get a lot of shit for it.
You know what? I did where I was at. I was in Indiana, so I got criticism, and I was in dreads. I had dreads at the time. I used to have long dreads. I had dreads all my my college and my years. Actually, my first years here in New York, I had dreads for my first years here in New York. So I had dreads back then. I was the only person on campus. There was only an African soccer player who had dreads. He's the only other person that had dreads. And I was the reckless motherfucker on campus. I was always into something. My sister lived here in New York already. So she used to do design for the Woo Wear. So I had all of the Woo. Remember when Woo Wear was out?
Yeah,
I had all of any Woo Wear exclusive shit you could think of. I had all that in college. I was the nigga. I was that nigga. They didn't even know who the fuck I was. They was just like, where the fuck is this guy? Nobody in Indiana was even like me or even could have been like me. I just had too much weird shit going on. You know what I'm saying? So once that was done, I said, fuck it, man. She called me and she said, yo, if you gonna come to New York, this your best time. Because she had a little time of chill time. She could let me stay and live with her for a couple months. You know what I'm saying? And I took the fucking opportunity. My mom looked at me and said, you better fucking go. You know what I'm saying? She's like, even if it fucking doesn't work out, you better just at least have gone. So I went. I stayed. I literally lived with my sister for about 3-4 months, maybe 6 tops. But I didn't live there the last few months because I worked at Sony Studios. So I literally lived in the studio. I would shower. I would go out and I was making so much money. I would go out and just go to the Gap and just buy everything right there in the Gap. Come back to the studio, shower downstairs in the shower in one of the studios, put on the clothes, and go back to work. So that was basically what I did for months, then years even at times.
When did you make that transition from being an engineer to a rapper? Like, I actually want to be a full-time rapper, or I still want to dabble in that. When was that transition?
I did it. My friend Q passed away, and it was about like 6 months to a year after. Like I said, I felt like but I said a little bit earlier when we talked that, I feel like the story wasn't told. When I grew up rapping, I had so much fun with it. When I seen this guy start putting it together, he used to sit with the rhyme book. Like he taught me techniques of how to put together flows like that. I didn't even know this was it until I moved to New York and started working with real, big artists. And I realized like people like Cassidy, that it was techniques with flows and writing patterns. I realized this nigga was like a genius like then. So I was so mad that his story could not be told. I said, I got to pick it up and finish off what he was doing. So the thing that made it easy, no lie, was the way music industry changed. When I was here, I came here at the golden era. Like I was getting paid at the tops of my career. I was getting paid like $125 an hour for me to be in a room with you at the top. Like at the top, I could get that like literally an hour. You know what I'm saying? And then like sometimes depending on, how the shit worked and with who, I could get more just because I could be like, well, you got to lock me out. I need 5,000 for these few days, or I need this for this, shit like that. And they would do it because of the credits and what you work with and the management that I had and all that. So it was like a crazy thing. That peak in the industry where you could basically take your laptop and record your own music fucked me out of too much money. Like, fuck, changed the game, bro. Like, everybody you could think of was recording on small rigs, small systems, you know what I'm saying, small things. So it took out the big studios, you know what I'm saying? It took out the $50 an hour, the $75 an hour, the $80 an hour. It took all that out. It got back down to less than $50 an hour. You're charging $40 an hour, $30 an hour, $20 an hour. You like literally what you got? Shit. You know what I'm saying? What you got? Like, because literally someone can get a laptop, buy a microphone, and do it. And I'm gonna be honest, engineering is an art, but if a person is really serious about their music, they can do my job. Like this,
It's funny that you say that, because that reminds me of taking pictures. At one point, you had to buy a really nice camera and you got to do, lighting. Everything's fantastic. But now the new iPhone has this fantastic camera. Anybody can take pictures now.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, remember even videos. I remember when I first, as we're talking about my music career, I remember I hit the peak in my music career where everyone was loving my music, but a nigga had no videos. Yeah. So I was trying to get directors charging $20,000 for a video. I'm here in New York, so they know who I am. They try to charge me the way. So I'm buying cameras, I'm buying low gauge cameras. Yeah. I'm trying to make videos myself. I edit my own videos. I could do all videos. I can do full editing with Final Cut, with Premiere Pro, all of that. All because these motherfuckers are charging so much money. I was like, yo, I gotta cut these motherfuckers out. Yeah. I gotta start doing my own videos. So I got full cameras, lighting, all of that shit here, bro. If you'd asked Bird, we've shot many of videos together, done many of things. Like, it's like this game makes you have to be versatile, B.
It
Like,
does, yes, absolutely.
and this was the first time I noticed it was that, and that's when I started doing my own music. I got my own studio, and the first songs I made were, you know, cool, but it was getting back into it. And like literally, I ain't gonna lie to you, one day, G, I'm a mushroomer. I shroom, you know what I'm saying, take mushrooms. But one day I had a good shroom, and I swear to you, G, it was like the fucking Matrix, bro. Like the shit just like.
Well, hold on, because I'm gonna talk about more videos, and I want to talk about that as well. But tell me, what's more of a challenge, being an engineer or being a rapper?
I'll say I'll give two things for being to showcase your own thing. Being an artist, I love that. As an engineer, you kind of got to do what your client says. You know what I'm saying? So you don't sometimes always get to do you always. You know what I'm saying? If the client trusts you, luckily I get to work with a guy like Swizz. I've worked with him for many years, so he trusts me. So I'm able to put my touch on some of the projects we work on. So I would have to say being an artist is more challenging. Engineering, once you know how to do it, you can do it. And as long as you can keep your ego out of it, because some artists do the wackest things to their songs, but you have to keep your ego out. It's not your job to make their thing your way perfect. It's their job. It's your job to make it their way perfect, what they want, what they need. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Going into your music, I listened to a couple projects. I listened to Shrooms Up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that EP, it came out like last year, March. And what I really like about it, between that and the other one, Layers, when we're about to talk about it in a second, is the diversity in songs. Like it starts out, Shrooms Up starts out with a real banger, Midwestern, hits you hard, hits you like a ton of bricks. And then as it goes down, it starts to get smoother, like with the song Runaway. Is that your style? Is that, is that your persona? You want to have that difference?
This is exactly it. That's even why I call this Shrooms Up. It's like a toss up. It's like as if I threw all of the songs in one room and whatever stuck on the wall, these was the ones. And it wasn't a full formula behind those particular songs. It was more of the flow of how I felt them. And then I was preparing people for what I did on Layers, is because of exactly what you said. When I get into it, I realized earlier that I don't have one sound. I don't necessarily have one sound that every time I do a track that you can always say that, damn, that was Kenny Lloyd or that was this. But what you'll hear, if you listen to a few things, you can hear the tones and you'll know, maybe me or whatever. But you're never going to be able to go like it's straight hip hop or it doesn't have an R&B feel. And that's something I really thought I could control. At one point, trying to shop myself as an artist, I tried to control it, but it was hard to make the same kind of music. Like I can see how Future does it, and I love it. I love it. I see Little Baby, and I see how they do it, and I love it. But I can't do that. I cannot go into the studio and make the same tone song every time. So it was a struggle for me over time to get that down. Once that thing clicked for me, this was the first project that I felt would showcase it well. And then everybody was like, put out some of this stuff. So I did it with Shrooms Up, and everybody like I had a few people critiquing me. They're like, bro, it's hard, but then it's got a sauce. So I'm like, it's Shrooms Up. I'm like, what's gonna, if you did mushrooms, do you know what's gonna happen to you? Are you gonna be crunk the whole time? Or are you gonna have an emotional experience? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now with Layers, that came out like fall 2019, right? It came out
towards the end of the year. I had wanted to slow down. I think it came out October, right end of October, right beginning of November. I think it was the 29th of October, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Did you produce the beats and you did your own vocals and engineer? Did you do everything by yourself with Layers?
With Layers and Shrooms Up, the only thing that are with both of those projects is that I wanted to do is that all of the production on there's one or two production that are solely my production, but all of the production on there are my main two producers. Okay. These are the two cats that basically without them, I would not have even have material the way it was, because I produce myself as well too. But I realized early that it's hard to do every part and do it to perfection. You know what I'm saying? And like I want it. So I felt like if there's one place I could give up, I could give up a bit on the production side because I know what I want, but I just need to find the right producers that fit for me. I found this guy Nero because of my working with a lot of guys overseas in Germany.
Yeah.
These guys would just come to me because they realized that I work with the best people, so they would come to me. This kid, funny enough, didn't come to me. He fell in my lap. I was wanting to remix a artist song that was from out there. So I was looking for a remix version because that's what they do out there. They always, all of their little young producers, they remix the big artist songs.
Yeah.
So I found at that time. So I found the remix. I put it out, and one of his friends contacted me and was like, "Yo, that's my friend. That's my homie. Can I introduce you to him?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, get me on Skype. Let's go." You feel me? So I talked to him on Skype, and he's like, "Bro, like I live in like a little village. I just make beats for fun." And I'm like, "Bro, you can make money, bro." And he's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, be my producer." And he's like, "Okay." So he just started sending me beats. So like he would send me 20, 30 at a time. And he literally fueled me becoming the artist that I became because he would send me stuff. So then I would take his stuff, reproduce it, reflip it if it wasn't hot the way I liked it, you know what I'm saying, and retweak it. Then I met my other main producer, Jesse. His name is Puff Hunters. His production name is Puff Hunters. He's naturally a guitar player and a natural, you know, real instrument producer versus a, you know, hip hop producer. So I smashed them two together and got my whole sound because I'm very instrumental, but I like that hip hop bounce. They can't get it all the time though. That's the problem. They can't get it. So sometimes I just have to basically reproduce what they do. You know what I'm saying? The one thing that I can do is Jesse, once me and him are in a room, me and him producing together, we make miracles together. We can make any style music, anything. And that's what I wanted to do, is that they've been on my team for so long. I wanted every song to reflect what my team could do production-wise, and that they have stood by me. I wanted them to make the most, gain the most, receive the most accolades, everything that they did. I put, if you look, the first song is the intro. It says featuring on Layers. It's featuring Nero Sheen Beatz. I put him as a feature because I said, yo, every year now it's been ramping up. You got Metro Boomin. You got all these producers that are now coming to the forefront. You're going to come to the forefront. You're going to be featured on one of my records. He's like, but why? I'm not saying nothing. Because you made the beat. Jesse, it's a song called A. I featured Puff Hunters on the beat. Same thing. You guys produced the whole album. There's only one song on the album that they didn't produce. And that's my other producer from UK, Rolaz. He did a lot of my singles that I released before I released these two projects. I had a couple big singles that I released a few years up and down the line. It's one called Strong and one called another one called Never Change. He produced, those are my big singles that I released. He just didn't make that. He almost didn't make the album, but I forcefully found something from him to put him on the album. I wanted to make sure that I showed them the respect that they showed me. They never released any of the music that I did. They never sold any of the beats that I did, meaning that I didn't have the money to, pay them at the time because I had the studio, I had the equipment, I bought all this stuff. They did everything they were supposed to do as a team member. I wanted to make sure they benefited. So it's not a solely all KNS thing. Kenny Lloyd thing, but every song, it's only the way it is because I wanted it that way. It's not production that they made that way. It's production that I took that they made and made it for me. You know what I'm saying? And made it be the way I wanted it. The only other person that has involvement on the tape was my mentor and the guy that helped me as an engineer get into the game, Rich Keller. I had him master the album for me. You know what I'm saying? So everything else, all of the engineering was done by me. All of the mixing was done by me, the layout. And then I let the team basically finalize the songs. They basically finalized the layout for me. I gave them my layout and they made a couple tweaks. You know what I'm saying?
Now, what I really like about Layers is each song has its own style and its own occasion. Like you got songs for the females, like She's Bad. You got songs for the streets, like Hustling. You got songs, my two favorite songs, but you got songs for the the druggies, like Trippy and Slow Burn. And that's why that's why I think it's called Layers, because you got layers. Everything is a different layer.
Now you hit it right on. Yep.
Is that, am I right?
Yes, that was exactly it. It stems off of a concept that I came off. I'm a big Pink Floyd fan. Okay. And I'm a big fan of the album Wall, Layers on the Wall, and I came up with this concept of layers on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at a wall, it's like, you got your paint, you got all these different joints, you know what I'm saying, forms of it that made it stand there. So that was my take on what I felt they were doing with that album. And then I was my take on being able to bring my sound. And over time, I finally figured out I can't do one thing.
Yeah.
But how can I present it where they could make sense? And there's one artist, this is one thing that I want to say, because this album gets overlooked. I hope that you've heard this project. The only other project that I've heard of my lifetime that made me feel like what I did with this Layers album was Wyclef's first album. What the heck was it called? The Carnival.
The Carnival.
Wyclef's first album, The Carnival, was a fucking ride, man.
Yeah.
It went from traditional
no pun intended,
folk
that's
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went from folk songs, old, Haitian folk songs, to like pure crazy, hard rap that came out at that era. You know what I'm saying? He was that when I looked to try to put out Layers, that's what I looked at, was how that flowed, and was like, how I felt when I heard that. I was shocked. I was like, how could this be one person? Like, he literally is like singing ballad, like he's doing how is this one person? I was shocked. And then it ended up being a bit of the same thing that I like about myself, being able to do so many different things and do them pretty well, not that bad, not poor. And that's the other thing I pride myself on. If I'm gonna make an R&B song, it's gonna be a good one. It's not gonna be just Suspect. Otherwise, I'm not coming with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like I said, my two favorite songs on Layers is Trippy and Slow Burn. And let me tell you this.
Wow, Slow Burn.
I'm gonna touch why I really like that in a second. But with Trippy, I really like it because of the music video. The music video makes this song even better. Half Baked is definitely top. First of all, Dave Chappelle is just top 5. Yes. Half Baked, classic, instant classic. What inspired you to have that Half Baked theme music video? Was it your idea? Someone's like, "Listen, man, you got to do this." Like, what was it?
It was a bit of my idea. My manager is extremely creative. She's into the movie. She's a movie producer as well. Mel. She just is just like me. Just loves to. She knows I love to get into character. Like, if you look at it, I did like a couple years back. I'll send it to you. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just one of my singles I released. I did a song called I got a song called Everybody Want It, where I basically was the Black Pee Wee Herman. So, you know what I'm saying? And like, I love doing character type themes or coming up with stuff. So she knows I like that. So we were beating around the bush of doing another one of those. And she was like, do you have any ideas, anything else? And we were thinking, I forget, it was one other idea that we did have it was another one that we were thinking about using, but it
was
almost
a stoner movie? Was it like a stoner?
Nah, it wasn't a stoner movie. It was just something. I forget what it was. When I'll think of it. It was just another thing. It wasn't that. And she was like, "We need something fucking funny though, because you're fucking hilarious. Like, you always are fucking doing some funny shit." So, and I'm like, what we could do? I was like, because it's trippy. I was like, we could do like Half Baked. I was like, because it's easy. It's an easy one to do. I was like, but I had like a couple friends. I got one friend that looks just like the one dude with the tie-dye shirt. I got one that looks just like him. I got one homie that looks just like him. I got one other homie that's just like retarded like that would have been fun to just bring in and would love to play other characters and shit. So I was thinking of putting them in it, but guess what happened? As the shit come down, everybody busy. Everybody got this. Everybody got that. So my manager was like, "Bro, you're playing all of the fucking parts." And I'm like, "The fuck you mean?" She's like, "You're going to be every part." And I'm like, "That's not going to be fun." She's like, "Nah, I'm telling you, you're fun. You're the reason why we're doing this. You're the one that's going to make all of this really be fun. Anybody else is not going to make it fun. I know you. I know how you can do it." So she started buying all the gear. She got the wifey together. The wifey always does all the wardrobe for the video. So she started the wifey, once you tell her, yo, it's a theme, she gonna get me in character. So everything you see there from that video was her making sure that watching the video to the T, trying to find everything she can to make me look just like him. Then luckily my manager, because she's a movie producer, she knows the lady who actually did the wardrobe for Half Baked. Yes. So she told her all the things, like how we put the braids on. She was like, they thought it was like a wig or some type of thing. And she's like, "Nah, I glued that. We shaved Dave's head. We glued that straight glue right to that nigga's head." So we did everything that he did. We did everything that we did. She gave us a couple places in the city where we could buy some of the stuff that she found. We did that, like the get up, the fucking the orange, the blue get up, all that shit. We did as much as the stuff that we could find. The wifey was online scouring for little things and all that. And then we shot it in Ohio because I have a good team that does videos in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and it was just fucking hilarious. It was really one of the funniest videos I ever did, because watching myself on the screen was funny. It was really funny.
And not only is it hilarious, it looks extremely professional. You're right. No wonder the costumes look spot on. It really, everything about it is great. So the next song is Slow Burn, and I just thought it was a great way to end Layers. You know, the loomy, dreamy vibe from it. I really appreciate. Is that what you were going for? Like something like that?
Exactly. I wanted to combine a bit of some of the things I said, but bring it back to a true thing. You know, sometimes I feel like we miss that with today's music. The albums don't fully make you ride through and you know, give you an end cap. I felt like Slow Burn was that. I made Slow Burn, funny enough, probably like 7 or 8 years ago, you know what I'm saying? Prior to when that joint was released, maybe in 2013, I made that song, like the whole song. And when I did it, I said, yo, this is the closing song for my album. I just don't know when the album's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, yo, and then somehow I found it. When I was putting the project together, I found the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it on there and I played it for the crew. It was one of Nero's first productions he did for me earlier in us working together. So he loved it because he was like, wow, that's really one of our star records. And everyone thought it was exactly that. It explained a lot about me. You know, I got to speak, be truthful in a, you know, more enlightening way, natural, that those are my type of songs that I would truly make if I didn't drink or didn't smoke or didn't have anyone hype around me. I would probably just make a gazillion conscious songs, because that's really the only thing on my mind all the time is how can I change something or make someone think differently, you know what I'm saying? About things. So I wanted to end it with at least one real good one of those. I thought Hustlin' was a good attempt as well of a bouncy but knowledge-filled song. But I did think some people may lose it at times because it was kind of a little singy and they may just pass by it. But I thought I did a good way of kind of talking the streets and telling a regular man's story and a streets man's story all in one. The hustle.
It's funny that you know, a regular man's story, a street story. A line that speaks volume to me is when you said, when I rap, it's like talking to my mother because she can understand a young man's struggle. Explain that. Did your mother see you struggling all the time? Was your mother your therapist? Like you only talk to her? Did she?
You know what? My mom was the vision. You know, my mom never complained. My mom never. She did everything she could do for us, and it wasn't enough. I gotta be real. It wasn't enough. I still got into so much stuff, and she didn't do anything. My mom never drank. My mom's name is Martella. And so she's named, so all her friends, since she was growing up, they buy her a bottle of Martell. So I used to drink and try to drink the Martell, and I realized I wasn't gonna get away with it because she didn't drink. So she, like as I grew up, she didn't drink. She showed us a great model, but she was never home. In order to put the food on the table, to keep us intact, she had to work her fucking ass off. So it was still levels of time for us to get into shit. So I had to respect that she did everything she could, and I sometimes had to actually do everything I could to stay the hell out of fucking drama and stay the hell away from things, because if she had to, you know, I could see even some of my own family members, fathers and mothers, drugged up, done, you know, not taking care of them. They lost in the streets, and my mom's literally doing everything she can. To me, I feel like she can understand it. She really knew the struggle I was having with not going to do all this, because she would sit down and tell me, Kenny, I know you want to do this. I know you want to. I just need you to not do this. You're going to understand later why. You're going to understand later why it was better for you to not do it, and better for you not to make this mistake. Better for you to do this. You're going to understand it later. Later never came for a long time, but when it did, it was a big fucking eye-opener. And I realized, yo, she understood it. I don't know nobody else that did, because my dad didn't. He's a good guy. He showed me hard work and effort. He was a good dude. He didn't do nothing wrong. He wasn't a bad father, if you get what I'm saying. He just didn't know how to raise me.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a different thing. I know a lot of people, like, my father wasn't into my life. My dad was in my life. My dad was present. I lived with him for a nice amount of time. He wasn't a dickhead. He, you know, he didn't do everything needed to make me the next level man I could have been, but he wasn't absent. And I would never act like he was or disrespect him in that light, because he was there. He whooped my ass. He did all the things that dad's supposed to do. He just was a young father, and I was his firstborn. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't know what to do. He had me early. He didn't know. He didn't have a father in his life. His father was not in his life. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't know how to teach me the lessons that I needed to know. And that's just life. That's just life. Any shit I can do about that. But the fact that he didn't go to jail, the fact that he had a job, the fact that he had a regular life and was very into churches sometimes, made me realize I can't go out here and do every fucking thing wrong. My mom and my dad are good fucking people. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's embarrassment. You know what I'm saying? And I would never do. I would never embarrass the people that brought me up, even the street people that brought me up. I can't embarrass them. You know what I'm saying? I pride myself on, you know, loyalty is big with me. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm very big. I know it's not much loyalty out here in these, you know what I'm saying? But that's why I got a small circle. You know what I'm saying? That's why I really don't rock with a lot of people, because loyalty is big for me.
It would have been great if, I know you probably had a different name when you were an engineer, but if Kenny Loyalty was your name, that would be,
I ain't gonna lie,
great.
you just put, you know what I'm saying, no lie, that would have been, I had just recently changed my original rap name was KNS the Engineer. And I just recently changed to my real name, Kenny Lloyd, because, you know,
it flows off the tongue a lot better. Yeah,
it turned out a lot better. And then also because I'm into the music, and I'm like, yo, when you look up my credits, people always asking the backstory about me and all this. It's Kenny Lloyd or Kenneth Lloyd. So it's like, yo, that's it, B. Like, when it comes to this music, that's what I am. That's who I am. People who do know, you know, the KNS, because a lot of the German cats, they still be like, KNS, you know, and all that. And they know that my name changed, but I don't discredit it. I get all my credits now for my engineering. I get Kenny KNS Lloyd. I do that purposely because a lot of people do still remember me under that. But I truly, you know, really, when I thought of that line, I truly thought of all of the times that my mom truly was probably scared for me. You know what I'm saying? Probably praying on her knees, just hoping that I would do the right thing. And knowing that she did tell me some of the right stuff, and that just hoping that I would just, you know, take it and really do it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if you ever to meet any of my family, they'll tell you I was the bum kid that they was probably gonna be on the couch, the one milking money from everybody and all that. And I'm the most independent out of damn near all of them. You know what I'm saying? I ain't been home since 18, since I left that day. I've been living on my own. You know what I'm saying? I've been supporting myself and doing my own thing and living my life the way I want to live it. So they all, you know, are shocked to the T, like, you know, to the core. But my mom knew I had it in me. She knew I had it in me. She didn't think it was fully possible, but she knew I had it in me. And she was the one that pushed me. So I always wanted to make sure that I represented her the best that I can. So I try to stay out of trouble. That's why I found a good job in music. I had to look at music. I love being the person I am now, an artist in music. But she was the one that said, yo, it's got to be something else in music you could do to make money other than, you know, blowing all your money trying to make it. You know what I'm saying? And she was right. Engineering put mad money in my pocket. It took me overseas. It took me all across the world. You know what I'm saying? And my name is known by a lot of people from engineering, you know, just from doing the behind the scenes work, not even being in front of the camera. You know, I'm known for it now a lot from being in front of the camera, but I tell you, I'm very much still well known for producing and engineering more than anything. You know what I'm saying? Most people know me for that, or for the songwriting shits and all that, than they do my songs. I'm putting them onto my music still. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like, you know what I'm saying?
Listen, Kenny Lloyd, Kenny Loyalty, KL the Engineer.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna bring you around for that project for real. For real. I'm definitely gonna do that.
Listen, we covered a lot. I would love to talk to you for like a whole nother 2 hours. There's still so much to action, but I tell you this: when that project drops, please reach out. I got to reach out to you. No, I need to reach out to you. Got to talk more again. There's so much that I still want to.
I was gonna say I got so much new stuff in the work that I definitely gonna come back with you and have a good conversation.
Yeah, I want to have another conversation because I want to know. You know what I want to know? Don't tell it now. I want to know about that Gucci Man story, and you know what I'm talking about.
Man,
you know what I'm talking about.
Man, yeah, I'm gonna save a good. I'm gonna say because it's a lot of good stories. I'm gonna save it for you. Yeah, whenever you're ready, if you have like a little Tales of the Studios type of thing, I got you. I got a couple.
I am dying to hear that story, but
I
we
got
gotta
a
save it
couple
for another
you.
time.
Or you hit me back, I'll drop it to you, but we'll definitely bring it to your viewers for sure.
Yeah. I want my reaction to be on air. Don't even tell me before. I want to hear on air.
No problem.
Really quick, because I really want to know this question. You talk about shrooms a lot. You know, you got the mushroom gang and everything. Do you get an inspiration from shrooms or drugs? Is that like a real like inspiration to you?
You know what? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you brought it up because I was gonna put it, bring it in at some point because a lot of people get that a little twisted, but I can't say they're completely wrong. That I do shrooms. I love doing mushrooms. It's definitely a part of that. But the reason why my crew is called Mushroom Gang, and the reason why I actually talk about mushrooms as much as I do and kind of involved in that, is because in my fraternity, my family is the mushroom family, actually.
Oh, okay.
Right. That actually is where it starts from.
Okay.
And as you know, a mushroom can grow from anything. And also a mushroom can have multiple levels of likes or dislikes. It could be poisonous. It could be hallucinant. And then we can eat it every day. It could replenish us and bring us back to life. So our family was started with that foundation of we come from the ground, we grow in the dark. You know what I'm saying? And because of that thing, you don't know what's going to come out of that. But the fact of it is that we can come from anything. We can spawn off the greatest and the worst thing in one decision, one moment, one chance. So our family was to try to take some of those guys that were coming into the fraternity. There were guys that were on that teeter-tottering edge that, had that little possibility of going bad or going positive and pulling them more positive. That was the idea of the mushroom family. So they got a lot of not necessarily the rejects, but a lot of those guys that could have been bigger problems in that family. I was one of those guys that they knew was a teeter-totter because I always was, didn't really care about the grades and all of that at the time, my first couple years there. But, they knew I was smart. They knew I knew what I was trying to do, and I could be one of the bigger guys in the fraternity. Right now, I'm a lower guy on a totem pole, but I'm one of the most looked at they always doing exhibits and stuff about me because they can show the growth of what I became, what I started from and what I became. You know what I'm saying? So they seen that early. So that was one of the reasons why I became a mushroom family. And then I extended it by creating the Mushroom Gang and keeping it alive and going. And then I had tried mushrooms back as a teen already. So it was a plush, knowing that and all of that. So I extended it. And then I knew when I started doing about the mushrooms, I won't say no black people because I'm sure there's many black people that try mushrooms, but it wasn't heavy in our community. Nobody knew about it. People thought I was a weird guy and all of that. They, now look at it, you see Wayne, all people talking about it all the time. So I definitely, that's why I have my other alias is the Mushroom Man. It's
and it's so funny that you say the mushrooms, poisonous, eat it every day, hallucinogen. It's different layers. There's layers to the mushroom. There's layers to everything, There's a lot of layers that you have. But listen, Kenny, thank you so much for talking to me. Follow Kenny Lloyd on Instagram at I am Kenny Lloyd. And also IamKennyLloyd.com if you want to see everything Kenny Lloyd. Listen to his projects, Layers, Shrooms Up on all stream platforms. You gotta listen to it. It's a great, great project. I can't wait to hear something else. And check out Sky Zoo, new album.
All of the fathers, please check this out. This is the best I've never heard so many songs about black fathers or about fathers that in my life. And I don't think there does many exist, period, that are good for fathers. Please check this out, guys.
It's perfect for the time now. I'm actually, I'm a little bit of a Sky Zoo fan. I love the In Celebration of Us. He has some good tracks on there.
Yes.
And the Easy Truth. And, my favorite track on there, Everybody's Fine, Forever and a Day, Hoodie C. I'm telling you, I really do like Sky Zoo. So
he's a really good dude. We're managed by the same person. So he's a really good friend. Really, this is our first time getting to work together, so I can't wait to do more with him in the future. We just really have been good friends for years, for a while, and we finally got to work together.
Sky Zoo's out of Brooklyn, right?
Yes. He's originally from Brooklyn. I think he may live in Atlanta now, maybe, but he's originally a Brooklyn born and raised, from what I know.
Great. Hopefully I can talk to him one day because I have a lot of questions.
I'll put you on. I'll give you a shout. He's very down with having good, he's always about getting things. If he can fit it in, and I know he's about teaching and all that. So I'll pass the info on.
Listen, I really hope you stay to your word. Kenny
Nah,
Lloyd,
got you on
and
that.
you better
That's
be
no
loyal.
problem. Send me the info you want me to send over to him. I'll definitely do that. That's no problem, bro.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, because there's so much I need to ask him. And there's still so much I need to talk to you about. But
Anytime,
whenever
bro.
that project comes out, please, there's still more.
I will relink with you. I got two or three different projects coming along. I'm gonna come with you for sure and give you details on all three, bro.
Is there something coming out this year or this year?
Yes, I got two for sure projects. I'm gonna do a deluxe version of Layers, where I'm gonna add about 8 to 10 songs. That one or two that kind of should have made it but didn't, and then the rest are just to thicken it up and keep the ride going with Layers before doing a brand new version of it, or a Layers 2 or whatever, because these joints have that vibe and it continues the feeling. And then I have 2 EPs. That one that I'm doing with my producer, I told you, from UK, Rolaz, and one from my main producer from Switzerland, Sona. They're very different projects, bro. Very different projects.
Man, please send me everything.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you those. I'm gonna definitely get them to you so we can have a good combo about them, because I'm really anxious to let you hear those.
I can't wait. Once again, thank you so much, Kenny Lloyd.
Yo, thank you, man. Thank you. I love what you're doing here, bro. I love what you're doing. Please send me anything you need to pass it along when things is going on, not just from what I'm presenting, but from any other people you have on, bro. I really like what you're doing, bro.
Hey, man, thank you so much. I love what you're doing. I love your music, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon, brother.
Definitely. Thanks, man. Be easy. Have a nice one, man.
Man, you too, bro.
All right, man.
All right.